Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we'll be going over a topic that I find really fascinating.
Hmm.
It's about education, but not just the usual stuff.
Yeah.
It's about values and character development, the whole package. It's
Mhm.
called Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a Filipino approach to education.
Oh, cool.
And it's all about creating well-rounded individuals who are ready to tackle life head-on, not just ace those exams.
That's right. It's about more than just academics. It's about fostering responsible citizens,
Yeah,
people
exactly.
who contribute positively to society.
That's what I love about this concept.
Mm.
It's not just about filling their heads with facts and figures, it's about nurturing their hearts and souls, too.
Yeah, it's about shaping their character and instilling values.
So let's dive into the specifics here.
All right.
What makes Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao so unique?
Well, it all starts with these 5 core principles: human dignity, moral and ethical development, social responsibility, holistic growth, and cultural sensitivity.
Okay, 5 principles. So, is there anything particularly innovative or unique to the Philippines in those principles?
Well, all of them are super important, but the emphasis on social responsibility really stands out, I'd say. It's really woven into everything they do, encouraging students to be active members of their community.
Oh, wow. So they start young,
Oh, yeah.
from a very young age.
So it's not just learning about responsibility in a textbook.
Uh-huh.
It's about actually living it.
Exactly. It's about putting those values into action.
I love that. Now, what about this cultural sensitivity principle? The Philippines is such a diverse country, right?
Yes, it's incredibly diverse, with so many cultures and traditions, and Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao recognizes that.
Okay.
It emphasizes the importance of understanding and respecting different perspectives.
That makes a lot of sense in such a multicultural society. It's like they're really trying to equip students to navigate a complex world
Exactly.
with empathy and understanding.
Yeah.
But, okay, we've talked about the principles in theory, but how does it actually play out in a Filipino classroom? That's where the 9 key objectives of Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao come into play.
9 objectives. All right, lay it on me.
These objectives take those principles and translate them into actual goals for students.
Okay, got it.
For example, character formation is a major focus.
Character formation, what does that even mean in practice?
Well, it's about instilling those core values we all admire: honesty, integrity, respect, compassion, perseverance.
Right.
Imagine classrooms where these values are not just talked about, but actually cultivated through everyday interactions.
Yeah, I mean, how do they do that?
Just building it into the way they interact with each other.
It still sounds pretty intense, but isn't that a lot to expect from young students? How do you make sure kids can actually grasp these complex ideas?
Well, that's the beauty of this approach.
Yeah.
It's not about lecturing kids on morality. It's about weaving these concepts into the curriculum
Oh, I see.
in engaging ways,
Okay.
so they become a natural part of their learning experience.
So give me an example. What would that look like?
Take moral decision-making, for example.
All right. So how do they teach kids about making those tough choices?
It's all about giving students the tools to evaluate situations, weigh the consequences of their actions, and make ethical choices. It's like giving them a moral compass to navigate life's complexities.
Okay. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
But what about emotional intelligence? How do they handle that? Being aware of your feelings and understanding others' emotions? It seems like a pretty tall order.
You'd be surprised they weave it into the curriculum really effectively.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Just imagine a classroom where kids are doing role-playing to learn about conflict resolution and empathy.
So they're not just talking about it, they're actually practicing it. That's cool.
It is. It's really hands-on.
Okay, but those are just 3 objectives out of 9, right? What are some of the others?
Right, so you've got things like civic engagement, environmental stewardship, spiritual growth.
So it's really preparing them to be active and engaged citizens, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Contributing to society in meaningful ways.
It's amazing to see an approach that goes beyond just academics and focuses on nurturing the whole child. It's not just about what you know, it's about who you are.
I agree. It's about the impact you have on the world around you.
This has been incredibly insightful so far, but I'm still curious about something.
What's that?
How do they actually implement all of this in schools? It sounds great on paper, but how does it translate into real-world learning experiences?
Yeah, good question. So they have a really interesting 3-pronged approach: curriculum integration, classroom activities, and extracurricular programs.
3 prongs.
All right.
Okay, so let's break that down. What is this curriculum integration?
It's about making sure that students are really experiencing these values, not just learning about them abstractly.
I like that. So does that mean like they add a new class, like Good Citizen 101 or something?
Not exactly. It's more about incorporating values education into the subjects they're already learning.
Okay, so like how?
Let's say you're in history class and you're learning about some social justice movement.
Okay.
That's a perfect opportunity to talk about fairness and equality,
Right.
which ties back to that principle of human dignity we were talking about.
Ah, I see. So it's less about adding more stuff for them to learn and more about making what they're already learning more meaningful.
Exactly.
I like that. What are classroom activities?
These can be really fun. Imagine a classroom where the kids are working through a conflict through role-playing.
Oh, that's interesting.
They're learning to listen, negotiate, and find a resolution that works for everyone.
So they're putting those interpersonal skills and emotional intelligence into action?
Exactly.
That's so much more engaging than just reading about it in a textbook.
Oh, absolutely.
Way more hands-on. What about these extracurricular programs?
So those go beyond the classroom.
Okay.
Things like community service projects, leadership camps, student-led initiatives focused on, say, environmental sustainability.
Oh, wow. So could you give me an example of how one of those extracurricular programs might connect back to the Edukasyon's Pagpapakatao principles?
Sure. So let's say the students are learning about environmental stewardship in class.
Yeah.
You're talking about, protecting natural resources, reducing their carbon footprint, all that.
Right.
But then they take it a step further. They organize a community cleanup as an extracurricular project.
That's awesome.
They're out there planting trees, launching recycling campaigns.
Wow. So they're really putting that knowledge into action.
Yeah, they're not just learning about values. They're actually becoming agents of change.
That's pretty powerful.
It is. And it creates this ripple effect.
How so?
When students see that their actions are having a positive impact, it reinforces those values. It inspires them to keep making those ethical choices.
Yeah, I can see that. So it sounds like Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao is about way more than just academic success.
It is.
It's really about preparing them for life.
That's really the heart of it, I think.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that education is more than just grades and test scores. It's about shaping individuals who are ready to face the world with integrity, empathy, and a sense of purpose.
That's a really inspiring takeaway. It makes me wonder if this kind of approach could benefit other educational systems. I mean, could we all learn something from the Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao philosophy?
I think that's a great question. In a world that often feels so divided and disconnected, Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao offers a blueprint for fostering a generation that is not only intelligent but compassionate and engaged.
Yeah.
It challenges us to rethink what education can and should be.
And to broaden our definition of success.
Exactly. It's not just about achievements and accolades.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on education.
I'm glad to hear that. The most important takeaway is that learning is a lifelong journey. And sometimes the most valuable lessons come from the most unexpected places.
Well said. A huge thank you to our expert for taking us on this journey through Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to share knowledge and start these kinds of conversations.
It really does make you think, huh?
Yeah, it does.
Like, imagine if we all had a bit more Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao in our lives.
Right.
Do you think it could actually, help create a more just world, a more harmonious world?
It's a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
If we really prioritize those values, human dignity,
Yeah.
social responsibility,
Yeah.
ethical decision-making,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't that have a huge impact on, everything?
Yeah.
Our personal relationships, how we interact globally.
Totally. What if, instead of just trying to get ahead, we focused on helping each other out?
Right.
What if success wasn't just about, individual achievement,
Yeah.
but about contributing to our communities
Exactly.
and to the planet?
That's what Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao is all about.
Yeah.
It's understanding that we're all connected
Mm-hmm.
and that our actions have consequences,
For everyone.
right? Not just for ourselves.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
And honestly, it feels like a message we could all use a little more of these days.
Absolutely. It's an invitation to think differently, to act with more compassion, to see education as a force for good,
Yeah.
not just a way to get ahead.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me. It's given me a lot to think about.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Just remember, learning is a lifelong journey, and the most important lessons often come from unexpected places.
Well said. I want to thank you again for taking us on this journey through Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah.
Always happy to share these ideas and spark these conversations.
And to our listeners out there, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to think a little differently about education
Right.
and its power to change the world.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there are some elements of Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao that you can apply in your own life,
Yeah,
in your own community.
absolutely.
After all, change starts with us.
Keep asking those questions, keep exploring, keep believing in the power of human connection.
Until next time, keep diving deep.